This is the spelling inventory assignment video. My spelling inventory was based on a first grade classroom and there were 22 students. So the first day I gave the students the inventory, the primary spelling inventory. It was done in whole groups, so students were given the word and the sentence and just tried their best to spell the word. I did assess the students on all 26 words because I knew some of them would be able to spell the more complicated words. At the conclusion of the inventory, I took the assessments and scored them and analyzed them to put the students in their groups. So after I had done all that, I ended up having 3 students, 13% of this class, in the late emergent stage. Their main miscues were initial consonant sounds. And these students are still working on letters and sounds, so that was typical for where they should be. I also had 2 students, 9% of the class, in the early letter name alphabetic stage. These students' miscues were mainly the short vowel sounds. They were just mixing up the vowel. 7 students, 31% of the class, were in the late letter name alphabetic stage. Their miscues were mainly the blends in the beginning of words. They were getting that first consonant in the blend, but they were missing that second sound. 6 students, 27% of the class, were in the middle within word pattern stage. Their miscues were long vowels. And 4 students, 18% of the class, were in the middle within word pattern stage. But their miscues were other vowels, such as the words chewed, crawl, thorn, growl, spoil. So after taking a look at all of the students' inventories, my biggest chunk of students were the 7 students in the late letter name alphabetic stage working on the blends. So that is in my paper, the group I focused on. But for all of these groups, I planned lessons for them for a week. This was done during our small group time. So in small groups, the students were split into their spelling group, and I was able to meet with the groups every day, and we were working on their sort. So on Monday, the first day of the lesson, each group was getting their sort. So on Monday, they got their sort. The students cut the words, and they were sorting them based on what their group needed. So in my paper, the students cut and they were sorting them under the short vowel heading. So in that first day, they were cutting the words, sorting, and the students, I had them work with a partner to do that. Once they had some time to work with a partner, I then collected them all together and we went through the sort as a whole group. If any words the students were struggling on, I just kind of set them aside and we went over them all together at the end. And they also had some time, depending on the group, to go through that sort again with a partner or independently. On Tuesday, students had their same sort again, so they're working with a partner, and I had them work with a partner to read the words aloud to make sure that even though they're sorting the words correctly, they were able to read it as well. Once they were finished that, I had them then do a speed sort, so just trying to do it as quickly as they can, and then any extra time was spent doing the sort on their own. Wednesdays, we did a little bit more of activities. So the main group in my paper, they were working on building, blending, and extending the words. So they did a little activity about that, just still spelling the word, reading it aloud, and if they had time, doing it with a partner, doing it independently, or putting the word in sentences. Thursday, they also did another activity kind of like that, and some groups did a game. So they're able to play a game with the words with a partner. On Friday, all of the groups were given the assessment. So this was just the check for mastery and understanding and whether that week's long lesson was able to improve their spelling. So at the end of the assessment, again, I collected and analyzed the data, and just to see where the students were at the conclusion of the week after all of that small group and focus on the words. And each assessment had different words they hadn't worked with, so just to see if they're able to apply that knowledge with words that were not in their sort all week long. When I continue working with these groups, I'll continue to work with the Words Their Way materials, whether students are able to move forward and move into a different kind of sort. Some will be moving on to the blends group or long vowels, and that's okay because even in first grade we just taught blends and we haven't even gotten to long vowels yet, so this is good practice and application for them. And yeah, that was my spelling inventory assignment.